Take a slow breath before you continue. This message is not meant to rush your heart or disturb your peace. It comes gently, arriving at a moment when your inner awareness is ready to receive clarity. Archangel Michael's presence is not one of fear, but of protection, discernment, and calm truth. When something is revealed, it is not to alarm you, but to help you move forward with wisdom instead of confusion. There are moments in life when we sense resistance around us, not always from obvious places, but sometimes through subtle energies, misunderstandings, or quiet intentions that do not align with our growth. This does not mean someone is attacking you, nor does it mean harm is inevitable. It simply means your spirit is becoming more aware. Awareness is not a weapon, it is a light. And light does not fight darkness, it dissolves it by existing. Archangel Michael speaks to those who are learning to trust their intuition again. You may have felt recently that something was off, that certain interactions drained you, or that progress felt slower than it should. This is not because you are weak. It is because you are becoming more sensitive to truth. When clarity arrives, it doesn't come as panic, it comes as understanding. That is what this moment is about. The identity mentioned here is not always a literal name written on a page. Sometimes it is a pattern, a role, or even a familiar energy that has been repeating itself in your life. It could be someone who unintentionally holds you back, or even an old version of yourself that no longer serves your growth. Archangel Michael reveals what needs to be seen so you can choose peace without guilt and boundaries without anger. This message is time-sensitive not because something bad will happen if you wait, but because your readiness is now. There are seasons when clarity knocks softly, and if ignored too long, life simply teaches the lesson in louder ways. Right now, the invitation is gentle. You are being guided to pause, observe, and realign, without confrontation, without fear, without force. Notice how your body feels as you read this. Notice what thoughts quietly surface. True guidance feels steady, not chaotic. It does not shout, it reassures. Archangel Michael stands for courage that is calm, strength that is quiet, and protection that does not need to prove itself. If someone's influence has been confusing your path, clarity will naturally create distance without drama. You do not need to expose anyone. You do not need to react. Awareness alone changes the dynamic. When you stop feeding confusion with attention, it loses power. This is how spiritual protection works, through alignment, not struggle. The more centered you become, the less anything misaligned can stay close to you. This moment is about choosing discernment over suspicion, peace over overthinking, and trust over fear. You are not late. You are not behind. You are simply arriving at a clearer understanding of who and what deserves access to your energy. That understanding is a blessing, not a burden. Let this message settle, not rush. Let it remind you that you are supported, guided, and protected. Not because something is wrong, but because something is right and ready to move forward. As you continue listening, allow yourself to slow down even more. This part of the message is not about discovering something outside of you, but about recognizing what has been quietly unfolding within you for a long time. Archangel Michael does not bring confusion, he brings alignment. And alignment often begins when you finally understand why certain chapters felt heavy, why certain connections felt draining, and why certain doors closed without explanation. Many people believe that resistance in life always comes from enemies, but spiritual wisdom teaches something deeper. Resistance often comes from misalignment. When you begin to grow beyond an old version of yourself, everything that was comfortable but limiting starts to feel tense. This tension is not punishment, it is preparation. It is the sign that your inner awareness is expanding faster than your outer world. You may have noticed recently that your tolerance for certain behaviors, conversations, or environments has decreased. Things you once ignored now feel loud. Things you once accepted now feel uncomfortable. This is not because you are becoming difficult. It is because you are becoming clear. Clarity changes how energy flows around you. And when clarity arrives, it gently exposes what no longer belongs. The message about a person acting against you does not mean someone plotting harm. Very often, it refers to someone whose intentions, expectations, or dependency no longer align with the direction your soul is moving. Sometimes this person does not even realize they are holding you back. Sometimes they are simply afraid of losing the version of you that made them feel safe. Archangel Michael reveals this not so you can judge or confront, but so you can detach with compassion. Detachment is not rejection. It is self-respect. When you stop over-explaining yourself, when you stop shrinking to keep others comfortable, when you stop carrying emotions that were never yours to carry, you reclaim your peace without saying a single harsh word. There is a reason this message speaks of timing. Awareness arrives in waves. If you receive it too early, you dismiss it. If it comes too late, life forces the lesson through pain. Right now, you are in the middle space, the place where choice still exists. You are being invited to choose awareness over reaction, wisdom over worry, and calm strength over emotional exhaustion. Notice how your intuition has been speaking lately. Through repeated thoughts. Through subtle discomfort. Through moments where silence felt louder than noise. These are not coincidences. They are signals. Archangel Michael works through discernment, not drama. He helps you see clearly so you don't have to fight blindly. This part of the message is also about responsibility, not blame. Responsibility for your energy, your boundaries, and your direction. You are not responsible for other people's expectations, disappointments, or projections. You are responsible for staying aligned with truth. When you do that, confusion naturally falls away. What is being revealed to you now is not meant to create distance filled with guilt. It is meant to create space filled with peace. Peace is not passive. Peace is powerful. It allows you to move forward without dragging unresolved energy behind you. It allows you to grow without constantly looking over your shoulder. You may realize that the name you were expecting is not a single person, but a pattern you are finally ready to release. A pattern of overgiving. A pattern of self-doubt. A pattern of silence when your heart wanted honesty. When patterns are named, they lose control. When they lose control, freedom begins. Archangel Michael's guidance always leads back to inner stability. He does not ask you to rush decisions. He asks you to become still enough to hear yourself clearly. In that stillness, truth rises naturally. And when truth rises, nothing false can stay hidden for long. Let this part of the message reassure you. You are not being warned, you are being supported. You are not being rushed, you are being aligned. You are not losing anything of value, you are releasing what cannot follow you into the next phase of your life. This is not about fear of who stands against you. It is about confidence in who stands with you, your higher awareness, your inner guidance, and divine protection that does not need noise to be effective. As this message continues, take a quiet breath and allow your body to relax. This part is not meant to push you forward, but to help you stand firmly where you already are. Growth does not always feel like movement. Sometimes it feels like stillness, a deep pause where your inner world reorganizes itself. Archangel Michael often works in these silent spaces, where clarity forms without force and understanding arrives without pressure. You may have felt recently that life has slowed down in strange ways. Certain plans paused. Certain conversations faded. Certain expectations dissolved without drama. This slowing is not delay, it is alignment. When your soul is being prepared for a more grounded path, unnecessary noise is gently removed. What remains is essential, honest, and strong. This is why the message speaks of awareness rather than action. Awareness changes everything before action ever begins. When you become aware of how your energy is spent, you stop wasting it. When you become aware of what drains you, you stop chasing it. And when you become aware of your own worth, you no longer negotiate with situations that do not honor it. Archangel Michael brings protection through understanding. He helps you see where you were carrying responsibility that never belonged to you. Perhaps you were trying to fix people who were never ready to change. Perhaps you were explaining yourself to those who were committed to misunderstanding you. Perhaps you were waiting for validation from a place that could never provide it. Awareness gently ends these cycles. Notice how your inner voice has matured. You no longer feel the urge to react immediately. You pause. You reflect. You feel before you speak. This is strength, not weakness. This is wisdom, not hesitation. Calm decision-making is one of the clearest signs that spiritual maturity is unfolding within you. The identity being revealed in this message is not meant to create distance filled with bitterness. It is meant to create clarity filled with peace. Sometimes the most powerful realization is not, "Who is against me?" but what no longer aligns with who I am becoming. When alignment changes, relationships change naturally. No confrontation is required. Energy reorganizes itself. You may recognize that your soul is asking for simplicity now. Fewer explanations. Fewer emotional negotiations. Fewer situations that demand you abandon yourself to keep the peace. True peace never asks you to disappear. True peace asks you to arrive fully as you are. Archangel Michael reminds you that boundaries are not walls, they are bridges that show others how to treat you. When boundaries are clear, relationships either rise to meet them or fall away quietly. Both outcomes serve your growth. You do not need to chase clarity. Clarity arrives when you stop resisting truth. This phase of your life is about integration. Integrating lessons you learned through struggle. Integrating strength you discovered through patience. Integrating trust you rebuilt after disappointment. Nothing you went through was wasted. Every experience refined your discernment. Every delay strengthened your intuition. You might feel a subtle sense of readiness now. Not excitement, not urgency, but quiet confidence. That confidence comes from knowing you can handle whatever unfolds next without losing yourself. You are no longer dependent on external reassurance. Your inner alignment has become your anchor. The message continues to unfold because your understanding is deepening. You are being guided to move forward without carrying unresolved emotional weight. Release does not always look dramatic. Often it looks like acceptance. Acceptance that some chapters ended for good reasons. Acceptance that growth required separation from old versions of yourself. Archangel Michael's presence is felt when fear dissolves into clarity. When confusion softens into understanding. When pressure transforms into purpose. If you are listening to this message, it is because your awareness is ready to hold truth without panic. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where your growth requires you to be. Timing in the spiritual sense is not measured by clocks but by readiness. And right now, readiness is unfolding within you naturally. This part of the message invites you to trust your inner stillness. When your mind quiets, your intuition speaks clearly. When your intuition speaks, direction becomes obvious. You do not need to rush the process. You only need to remain present within it. What comes next in your life will not require you to betray your peace. It will feel steady, aligned, and grounded. You will recognize it not by intensity, but by ease. Not by pressure, but by clarity. That is how divine alignment often reveals itself. As this final part unfolds, allow yourself to slow down completely. There is nothing left to prove and nothing left to chase in this moment. This message does not ask for urgency in action, it asks for depth in understanding. True clarity settles quietly, and when it does, it changes the way you see everything that once confused you. Archangel Michael's guidance often reaches its fullest strength at the end of reflection, not at the beginning. When the mind stops searching for answers, answers begin to reveal themselves naturally. This is the stage you are entering now. A stage where insight replaces assumption, where calm replaces reaction, and where wisdom replaces emotional exhaustion. You may realize that much of your recent inner tension came from carrying questions that were never meant to be answered all at once. Life is not a puzzle to be solved in a single moment. It is a process of awareness that unfolds layer by layer. Each layer removed brings relief, not pressure. Each realization brings grounding, not fear. This message points toward self-trust. Not the loud kind that demands attention, but the quiet kind that does not need validation. When you trust yourself, you no longer feel the need to explain your decisions to everyone. You become comfortable letting actions speak in silence. This inner confidence is one of the strongest forms of spiritual protection. Archangel Michael encourages you to observe patterns without judgment. Look back and notice how certain situations repeated themselves until you learned what they were trying to teach. Once the lesson is learned, the pattern no longer needs to return. Awareness completes cycles gently. Nothing has to break dramatically for growth to occur. You may also notice that your intuition has become more refined. You sense when something is off without needing proof. You feel when something aligns without needing reassurance. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is discernment developed through experience. Trusting it will simplify your life more than you realize. This phase of your journey is about balance. Balance between giving and preserving yourself. Balance between compassion and boundaries. Balance between patience and self-respect. When balance is present, peace becomes consistent instead of temporary. Archangel Michael's presence brings emotional stability. Not the absence of feeling, but the ability to feel without being controlled by emotion. You can acknowledge sadness without sinking into it. You can acknowledge joy without clinging to it. This emotional steadiness allows clarity to remain intact even during change. If you have felt distant from certain people recently, understand that distance is sometimes a form of alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk every stage of your journey. Some are meant to walk you to a certain point and then release you forward. This is not loss, it is progression. You are learning to move without forcing outcomes. To speak without over-explaining. To listen without absorbing negativity. These are signs of inner maturity. When your energy is stable, external chaos loses its influence over you. This message also reminds you that peace is an active choice. It is chosen in how you respond. It is chosen in what you tolerate. It is chosen in where you place your attention. When peace becomes your priority, everything else reorganizes itself around it. Archangel Michael does not remove challenges instantly, he strengthens your ability to navigate them calmly. Strength does not always look like confrontation. Sometimes it looks like walking away with understanding. Sometimes it looks like staying silent with confidence. Sometimes it looks like choosing rest over reaction. As you reach the end of this message, notice how your body feels. A sense of grounding. A sense of emotional steadiness. A sense that you are no longer searching outward for reassurance. This is the alignment this message was meant to bring. You are not being rushed into change. You are being eased into clarity. What comes next in your life will meet you at the level of calm you are cultivating now. When peace leads, the right paths open without resistance. Let this message settle. Let it integrate. There is nothing more you need to do in this moment except remain present and aware. That alone is enough. If this message brought you calm and clarity, stay with this channel. More guidance like this will continue to appear exactly when you need it. Simply remain open and aware.